What does document.querySelectorAll do for DOM elements? Imagine you are trying to find all the toys in a toy box that are red. In web development, this is similar to selecting multiple elements on a web page. If you want to grab all the elements that match a certain pattern or style, you can use a special JavaScript tool called document.querySelectorAll. This method helps you find and work with groups of elements at the same time. It is like having a magic wand that points to all the items you want in one go. When you use this method, you give it a string that contains CSS selectors. These selectors are like instructions telling it what kind of elements to look for. For example, you can ask it to find all the paragraphs, all the elements with a certain class, or even specific combinations like a list item inside a certain section. The method then searches through the entire web page or a specific part of it and finds all matching elements. The result it gives back is called a node list. Think of this as a list of all the elements that match your criteria. You can treat this list like an array, which means you can access each element by its position, loop through all of them, or change their properties. For example, you could change the color of all buttons with a certain class or hide all images on the page. One important thing to remember is that the node list you get from querySelectorAll is static. This means if you change the web page after selecting the elements, the list will not automatically update. If you want a list that updates automatically as the page changes, you would need to use a different method called getElementsByClassName or getElementsByTagName. You can also call querySelectorAll on a specific element instead of the whole document. This way, it only searches within that element and its children. This is useful when you want to narrow down your search to a specific part of the web page. Using querySelectorAll is very handy for many tasks. You can select all the links in a menu to add click events, find all the items with a certain class to style them differently, or gather data from multiple elements at once. For example, if you want to change the background color of all buttons with the class primary, you can write a simple code snippet like this. Const buttons is equal to document, querySelectorAll button primary. Buttons for each button is equal to. Button style background color is equal to blue. This code finds all buttons with the class primary and makes their background blue. Compared to other methods like getElementsByClassName or getElementsByTagName, querySelectorAll is more flexible because it uses CSS selectors, which are familiar and powerful. The other methods return live collections that update automatically if the DOM changes, but querySelectorAll gives you a fixed list that stays the same unless you run the method again. Understanding how to use document querySelectorAll is key to mastering DOM manipulation in JavaScript. It allows you to select multiple elements easily using the same syntax you use in CSS. This makes your code cleaner and more efficient when working with groups of elements on a web page. Whether you want to style, hide, or add event listeners to many elements at once, this method is your go-to tool for selecting elements quickly and effectively.